American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis Air dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis Air on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950. Did you know that from birth to age 3, simple activities like talking, playing, reading, and singing can profoundly impact your child's development? Little Moments Count is dedicated to providing parents with the resources they need to make the most of these moments. Visit the website littlemomentscount.org to connect to a collection of resources designed to support you in giving your child the best start in life. That's littlemomentscount.org.
Doherty Family College at the University of St. Thomas is your pathway to a bachelor's degree. Located in downtown Minneapolis, Doherty Family College offers an affordable education that includes free textbooks, a laptop, meals, career coaches, and a Metro Transit pass. As a full-time Doherty Family College student, you'll benefit from mentorship from St. Thomas faculty, along with paid internships and support from Minnesota's largest private college. Ready to turn your dreams into reality? Apply now at dfc.stthomas.edu. Doherty Family College, your journey to success starts here.
Now showing at MIA, artist Mary Sully was a visionary ahead of her time. Born on the Standing Rock Reservation, she worked in near obscurity between the 1920s and 1940s, creating intricate, vividly colored drawings that blend Dakota heritage with modern life. Now on display at the Minneapolis Institute of Art, experience the first solo exhibition featuring Mary Sully's work and see how her art challenges traditional ideas of Native and modern art. Only at MIA and always free to visit. Learn more at artsmia.org.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for cloudy skies tonight with a low around 32, Friday partly sunny with a high near 47, and Saturday sunny with a high near 44. Make it a night to remember at Crooner's Supper Club. Incredible live music, 4-star food, handcrafted drinks, and first-class service, all in the classic Supper Club setting. Don't miss out. Visit croonersmn.com to plan your perfect night out. That's croonersmn.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake. Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Kadagi to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss local, national, Native news and events, and as you know, Chujunk, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
Yes, you are right, Dega. And this portion of the show is supported by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, we have a super duper interesting show today, and I want to hand it over to Robert Lilligren, who's president and CEO of Native American Community Development Institute, but wears many, many hats in the community. And I just want Robert to take over and talk a little bit about what we're going to be talking about today and our special guest.
Yeah, thanks. Bonjour, Robert. Bonjour, Haley. So good to be with you. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having our special guest, Terri Smith, and I'll introduce her in a second. But Terri works for the Metropolitan Council. That's our regional government here in the Twin Cities. And so I thought I'd talk a little about the council and then get into Terri's specific work. And so the Metropolitan Council is a 17-member governing body for the region. 16 of us are district representatives, and the chair is at large. We're all appointed by the governor. So Governor Walz, Lieutenant Governor Flanagan, our Ojibwe sister, are the appointing authority, or for me, the governor is. And it's, technically, the Metropolitan Council is what's called a Metropolitan Planning Organization, or MPO, as we say in government. And every metropolitan area of a certain size, I think it's 100,000 or maybe 150,000 people, are required by the federal government to have a Metropolitan Planning Organization, or an MPO. And that's the mechanism by which federal funds get translated into local government projects and initiatives. Here in the Twin Cities in Minnesota, we have an unusually robust metropolitan planning organization that functions as a more of a full government. We provide certain services. We operate the region's wastewater system, for example. We operate the region's major transit provider. And then we have other areas like parks and open spaces. We direct money from the state to different parks implementing agencies throughout the region. We're the major planning organization for this region as well. And we're just in the process of doing our comprehensive planning for the year 2050. That's kind of what our perspective is. And we also are involved in housing. And part of what we do is channel funds to housing projects and economic development projects. But also we have a relationship with the Housing and Urban Development, HUD, in the federal government. And one of our functions is as a Housing Redevelopment Authority, an HRA. And authorities in government tend to mean you have the authority to tax and spend taxpayer dollars. In this, the HRA operates our public housing. Metropolitan Council owns public housing. We support public housing that's funded through HUD, through the federal government. And we are a very large public housing authority. We're one of the largest, I think, in the country, but certainly in the state. About half of our 7-county metro area is included within our public housing authorities there. That's our service area. And we are very fortunate in our region to have Terri Smith as our Housing and Redevelopment Authority Director. And Terri is phenomenal. The dealing with federal money in general, for those of you who've done it, is painstaking at times, arduous. Managing an enormous public housing system is a lot of work. And Terri really puts the people at the center of the work. And I've just been so impressed. I knew Terri before I was on the Met Council, just from some of the tables that I was serving at before, and working with her for now, coming up on 7 years or 6.5 years. I've just been so impressed with her work. And so I'm so grateful that Terri was able to join us. And Terry's going to talk about maybe a number of things, but the big deal thing is that Met Council is about to reopen its waiting list for housing vouchers. And that's a big deal in itself. It happens, I think this is my second time since being on the council, so maybe 6 years, something like that. It's very, very competitive. And kind of a big deal thing that I'm sure Terri will elaborate on is that this year, for the first time, the Met Council is setting aside 10% of our vouchers to be dedicated to families whose heads of household are Native. And this is the first time we've done this. This is a recommendation that emerged from Met Council's recent American Indian Advisory Council, of which Robert Pilot was a member. So miigwech for serving on that. But this, I was in a meeting earlier today with urban Indian organization leadership from across the country, and I talked about this, Terri, and they were just floored. Nobody could believe that we're doing this. Like me, people asked, "Is that even legal?" Which it is. So with that, if that's enough background and everything, I'm thrilled to introduce Terri Smith, the Housing and Redevelopment Authority Director for the Metropolitan Council.
Well, thanks, Robert. What a nice intro. We all think very highly of Robert Lilligren, who's the chair of the Council's Community Development Committee. So most of our Housing Authority business flows through that committee before it goes on to the council for a full vote. And I've been in a few meetings with Robert Pilot too, so it's good to be here with you. Thanks for having me. But it's a big deal to open a waiting list. And just a little bit of background, as Robert indicated, I'm the director of the Metropolitan Council's HRA, and we're the largest administrator of tenant-based rent assistance in the state of Minnesota. So those are vouchers that are essentially connected to people. And we are one of the largest 3% in the country. So we're considered a large PHA. And so we're excited to be here. We serve about 7,300 households with rent assistance each month. And so that's like 20,000 people, 9,500 children. And our vouchers, I think a big part of this message is our vouchers are always full. They're always in use. And I think important to say that waiting lists are long. They're generally closed, not only here in our region, but across the country. There are some rural areas of Minnesota where the waiting lists are open, but in metropolitan areas, waiting lists are generally closed and long. And so we're thankful that we're able to open our waiting list. It's opening next Wednesday. The last time we opened was in 2022. June of 2022, and we received 11,000 applications in a week. And from that, we were able to place 2,000 randomly on a waiting list, and we're still working through that waiting list at this time. And so it really, you can do the math, but it really shows that there's much more demand for housing vouchers than there are vouchers available. Once a household has a voucher, I'll just give you a 30-second high-level overview. But once a household's determined eligible, they meet income requirements, they're issued a voucher, which is essentially a piece of paper that says the housing authority will pay part of their rent. And so they go out, rent from a private landlord. The housing authority pays part of their rent, and then the household pays 30% of their income towards rent. So it's a way to get safe housing for people that otherwise couldn't afford it.
Yeah, that's awesome too. And I just want to jump in too, that the apply time is between 9 a.m. April 9th and noon April 16th, and visit www.waitlistcheck.com to create an account and apply. And I'm going to say that a couple more times, but Robert and Terry, this is just unbelievable that this option is here for our Native people. One of the questions I would have is, how can and do you prove that you're Native American?
Yeah. So we still have, like most of our program, and actually all of our program, people self-certify to all kinds of things. They self-certify that they're a citizen. They self-certify that they're an eligible non-citizen, that they're Black, that they're white. And this will be the same, that people will self-certify that they're American Indian, and then they'll answer a question and as part of the application process as well. There will be no verification of that, just like most, much of our business.
All right. Hey, I'm here with Robert Lilligren and Terri Smith, and we're talking about this great program, and we'll come back and talk a little bit more about this. This is Native Roots Radio, and we'll be right back after this short break.
Activism in the 21st century takes many forms. For Minnesota Chippewa artist Rory Wake-em-up, it's Funktivism. He uses humor, satire, and regalia to challenge social and environmental injustice. Smart Wars is Wake-em-up's latest solo exhibition. It's a bold mix of Indigenous heritage with modern commentary. Through his multimedia art, Wake-em-up challenges perceptions and sparks conversations about Native resilience, climate action, and truth-telling. See Smart Wars at All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis, February 27th through April 5th. Details at allmyrelationsarts.org.
I love my Toyotas from Rudy Luther Toyota for one simple reason. I can depend on them. You know they keep you safe, and they're incredibly reliable, fuel-efficient, comfortable, and stylish. The Consumer Reports Best of 2025 edition has 10 Toyotas as best buys in affordability. Toyotas are some of Consumer Reports' highest-rated certified pre-owned vehicles, and Rudy Luther Toyota's service department is the one place I take my Sienna for all of its maintenance needs. Toyotas are fantastic vehicles because they're fantastic vehicles. See for yourself at Rudy Luther Toyota off of 394 in Golden Valley.
Now showing at MIA, artist Mary Sully was a visionary ahead of her time. Born on the Standing Rock Reservation, she worked in near obscurity between the 1920s and 1940s, creating intricate, vividly colored drawings that blend Dakota heritage with modern life. Now on display at the Minneapolis Institute of Art, experience the first solo exhibition featuring Mary Sully's work and see how her art challenges traditional ideas of Native and modern art. Only at MIA, and always free to visit. Learn more at artsmia.org. The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis Air dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis Air on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Hi, this is Governor Walz. Thank you for listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Native American Community Development Institute, or NACDI, in Minneapolis.
Hey, we have Robert Lilligren, President and CEO of Native American Community Development Institute, and Terri Smith, Director of the Metropolitan Council Housing and Redevelopment Authority. Robert, I'm going to hand it over to you again. This is just amazing information, and just what the Met Council does just blows my mind. Every time I go to a meeting, I hear all the great things they do and how they help community.
Cool, thanks. And my thanks to Terri Smith for being here today and leading in and to hear more about the Public Housing Authority waitlist being open. But one of the big features, and this is brand new, is that we're setting aside spots on the waiting list for families whose head of household identifies as American Indian. And this has never been done by our housing authority before, and it is a recommendation that emerged from a very robust process just last year and into this year, which was our American Indian Advisory Council. Or was that just this year, Robert? You were a member.
Yes, for a year. This is our second year.
Your second year, thank you. And this was a group of some of the most accomplished and active sort of cultural carriers. Most of them were Dakota or Lakota people. This is their homeland, right? But we had Ho-Chunk represented, Robert. We had Ojibwe represented. And they were a great group and really proactive. And originally thinking was around sort of a land and water acknowledgement or something. But right away, this group said, yeah, we're not really into that. We need actions and commitments from the Met Council. And so the project immediately morphed into one around setting actions and commitments by the Met Council. This group, did incredible work incredibly quickly and brought a very well-developed list of recommendations and report forward. And already the Met Council has acted on a number of these recommendations. And I'm really proud of that. This is, I feel like, a little bit of legacy work for me on the Met Council. But one of these things we did is this set aside for spots on the waiting list for Native American people. That is a recommendation that emerged right from the Advisory Council. So it's important for us at Met Council to be demonstrating back to you and the community that we are listening to them and we are taking these commitments and actions very seriously. And I would invite Terri to say anything else. Anything about that action or even about the list itself or any of the work that we do?
Yeah. Thank you, Robert. But, it's exciting work. A lot of the work that came out of the American Indian Advisory Council, surrounded all of the council's work, transit, water, planning, but then housing. And that's the area that I work in. So there's several commitments made in this work, but the first one that we're taking action on, which is exciting, is that we committed to updating our administrative plan, which is our policy document, in preparation for our housing choice voucher waiting list opening, which is happening next week, to set aside a percentage of waiting list placements for households that identify as American Indian. And that came directly out of our work with the Advisory Council. But the council, our community engagement team, Ryan Ottenheim-Leifheit, she's the manager of special initiatives and engagement, engaged with American Indian voucher holders, with the American Indian Advisory Council to sort of come up with this percentage. And so where we landed with that after these engagement opportunities, that we would set aside 10% of waiting list placements for people that identify as American Indian. And so in this scenario, we're going to be placing 1,000 people on the households on the waiting list through random drawing. But before we do that random drawing, we'll take we'll take 100 American Indian households and place them on the list. And now I think important to recognize that we may get less than 100, we may get more than 100, but that's our commitment. And then those 100 will be randomly placed on the waiting list. So household, might be number 1 on the list, might be 75, might be 750 on the list. But at any rate, we've committed to placing 100 families. If we have over 100, once we take the first 100, then we do a random drawing for the remaining 900 waiting list placements. So there could also be American Indian households that qualify for additional waiting list spots. So it's the first time we've done this. To my knowledge, we're the first. I know we're the first in the state. I'm on some national housing committees, and I haven't heard of housing authorities even nationally that have done this. So we're excited to partner with our community members on this and hope we can make a difference with this waiting list preference. A couple of other things that I will say: the last 3 waiting list openings, so in 2015, 2019, and 2022, 3% of our applicants that applied self-identified as American Indian. And that ended up being 45 to 60 households. And so we're hoping that our robust engagement about the waiting list opening will allow more American Indian households to apply to the waiting list. And so this policy will be impactful. So tell your friends, tell your family members, tell your neighbors. You go to www.waitlistcheck.com/metro, and then that's how you apply. We'll have staff members at community locations all over the region, most public libraries in the core, and then several in the suburbs will have people there and available to help people apply to the waiting list. If folks are having trouble navigating the technology or just want some help, we're there to help folks. We also will have people stationed at our office downtown St. Paul during the opening at 390 Robert Street if people need help navigating. So we're opening, purely online. So you have to do it online. And that can be complicated for some folks. So we're here to help. Our outreach team has worked with the library system, trained some of the library staff. We have community members that will be helping with the opening. So we've hired some consultants with lived experience in homelessness that will be stationed at some of the libraries to help. So we're just wanting to spread the word far and wide about this.
Well, Robert and Terry, it's going to be interesting to see what numbers come back. And I know you had a lot of due diligence to come up with this 10% and talk to the community, and that was exciting to hear. And it was fun because when we talked about this coming up, I just got so excited we reached out and to amplify this. And then we were talking about, well, maybe next time it'll be 12%. Oh,
Well, nothing succeeds like success, right? So if we can fill 10% of the spots, great. If it's more than 10%, then we're demonstrating greater need, right? And there's a rationale here. Issues of housing affordability disproportionately impact our communities, right? So there's a reason to be doing this, and
I think one of the big things too, Robert, is once people get placed on the list, then as someone goes, essentially as one household goes off the program, another can come on. And so then when a household comes to the top, then we determine eligibility. Do they meet the income requirements? And then they're issued a voucher, and then they need to go out in the open housing market and find a landlord who's willing to take the voucher, because in our state, it's still a voluntary program. Although in Minneapolis and a few other communities, they've adopted non-discrimination ordinances that require landlords to consider voucher holders. And so we hope to see that on a statewide level, but we haven't yet. So.
Yeah. And thanks, Terry. And I think it's also important to note that one of the fundamental philosophies in the Met Council and through the Public Housing Authority and a lot of our policies is emphasizing options for the person looking for a place to live. We call it choice, right? And so we set annually sort of this policy plan that Terry was talking about, and that's always a huge emphasis. And so kind of this idea that people should have options about where they want to live. They often use things like school systems, school quality of schools, quality of parks, quality of life in a community. And so the way we operate our public housing authority is to allow for as much choice as possible. And, we have to set rents high enough that people can live in these communities where maybe they wouldn't have options to do that. And then another important thing is that once someone has a voucher, provided they continue to meet the requirements, that's portable, right? They can take that with them to other properties. And so this is kind of a big deal.
I think the other thing that I'll mention is about our service area. So there are 10 housing authorities in the metropolitan region that operate the Section 8 voucher program, us being one of them. And so the Metro HRA service area, we serve suburban locations. So we serve all of Anoka County, all of Carver County, and then suburban Hennepin and Ramsey. Minneapolis and St. Paul have their own housing authorities and their own voucher program. So it's important for people to know that if they get one of our vouchers, they're likely going to have to move to a suburban location, at least for the first 12 months, and then that voucher becomes portable. If I have time, we have another chunk of vouchers coming from a state-funded program that was funded in 2023, and those are coming online in 2026. And so we're excited about that, those vouchers as well.
Wow. I just want to say a big peeny gigi. Thank you so much, Robert Lilligren, for all you do. And Terry, great work. Thank you so much for amplifying this and being on Native Roots Radio. Hey, we're coming up next.
Thanks for having me.
Soon. Right on. Native Roots Radio. We'll be right back.
Are your remote workers putting your company at risk? Not sure what steps to take to secure your data? Hi, Mark Sommerfeld from Rymark. The Rymark team is guiding our clients through these difficult times. In fact, demand has been so high, we created an easy-to-follow guide with the 5 steps to securely work from home. It's yours free. Download our 5 steps to securely work from home now at rymarkit.com or call 651-328-8900 for a no-cost how-to discussion.
Hey, it's Patrick. Spring showers may bring May flowers, but they also bring big savings with Zero Res. And right now, you can beat the spring cleaning rush with big savings and priority booking by calling our heroes at Zero Res. Zero Res removes winter's buildup and lingering odors, giving your home a fresh, spring-ready feel, preparing your home for the brighter days ahead. Just check out the almost 21,000 raving customer service reviews online with a 4.9 Google rating and see what all the hype is about. This month, get 3 rooms Zero Resified from Minnesota's #1 carpet cleaner starting at just $119 and take $75 off an air duct cleaning as well. You owe it to yourself and your family to breathe healthy, happy, and clean. Call Zero Res right now at 9520-RES or go online to ZeroResMinnesota.com and say you want the AM 950 special. Spell it backward or forward, it's the same. Zero Res.
End-of-life decisions are not easy to make. Hi, I'm Mary T. of Mary T. Hospice Care. It's important to make sure that this difficult time is meaningful and comforting to you and your loved ones. Our hospice team provides an individualized program of physical, emotional, spiritual, and practical care so your loved one is comfortable and not in pain. At Mary T. Hospice, we understand that choosing the right hospice care provider can be overwhelming, but we're here to assist you. Learn more today at marytinc.com.
When was the last time you had your roof inspected for extreme weather and hail damage? This is Chad, owner of AM 950, to talk about the exterior construction company I trust, Snap Construction. If you've noticed new roofing projects in your neighborhood, your home was likely hit by hail last summer and experienced damage. Snap Construction is helping homeowners like you, and they're the roofing specialists I trust. They are the most well-reviewed contractor in the Twin Cities and have a ton of positive customer reviews from homeowners just like you. Even better, Snap Construction's installations are backed by a lifetime warranty, so you know you're dealing with a qualified roofing expert. You want to work with a company that will be here for a long time after the work is done. Snap Construction has handled thousands of claims and will help you through the process. Do yourself a favor and get a free roofing inspection so you have the facts and peace of mind you deserve. Call Snap Construction today at 612-333-SNAP. That's 612-333-SNAP. Or visit snapconstruction.com.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Hi, I'm Rachel Shamblatt. My dad is Dr. Scott Shamblatt from Shamblatt Family Dentistry. A lot of people are afraid of the dentist, but you don't have to be. My dad makes going to the dentist comfortable and even fun. He won't be mad if you haven't seen a dentist in a long time. He just wants to take care of you and your teeth. If you don't see my dad, please see another dentist. Take care of your teeth because they're the only ones you get.
Shamblatt Family Dentistry in Hopkins and St. Paul. Find them online at shamblattfamilydentistry.com or call 1-800-FIX-MY-TEETH.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for cloudy skies tonight with a low around 32, Friday partly sunny with a high near 47, and Saturday sunny with a high near 44. Looking for the perfect night out? Head to Crooner Supper Club. There's amazing shows all year long, and stop by Maggie's Lounge for cocktails and conversation. Visit croonersmn.com for more info. Crooner Supper Club, old school nightlife with a modern twist. That's Crooner Supper Club.
Hi, this is Representative Sharice Davids from Kansas. I'm Ho Chunk, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Native American Community Clinic on Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis, honoring health and tradition.
Hey, Haley, we got a really awesome guest, another awesome guest, I should say, Kahomy Weston. And I would love for you to tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get into the nuts and bolts why you're here. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Okhódayapi, Chante Washte Nape Chiuzapi, Gimimi Laskawi Machiapi, Minikoju Himataha na Wanache Minicha Awatiksto. Hello, everyone. My name is Kahomy Weston. I am the project and program coordinator with Owámniyomni Okhódayapi, and I'm grateful to be here.
Well, give us a little background. You're from Cherry Creek, South Dakota, and tell us a little more about yourself.
Oh, yeah. My mother's family, my family on that side is from Cherry Creek, South Dakota. I've been living in Rapid City, South Dakota for the past 12, 13, 14 years. And we recently moved out here. My husband and our family moved out to this area back in August 2024. And big change for us, but we're excited to be here.
Well, welcome. And we need more Native Americans in this area. So big welcome. Hey, talk a little bit about the project you're on and that you're working with, and let our listeners know what you're doing.
Yeah. So when I first started to look this way for different places, I wanted to stick with a Native organization. And after doing a lot of research and talking to people, I found Owámniyomni Okhódayapi, which is a Dakota-led organization. And we use a lot of our Dakota values and kind of creating a way for the people in the cities. And it's a nonprofit organization. We're working on restoring 5 acres of land right in the middle of Minneapolis, downtown Minneapolis, at Owámniyomni, which is also known as St. Anthony Falls. And just kind of making it more welcoming and creating a place where Dakota people can feel more at home and return home.
Right. And will signage be there too? So our white allies that come down there realize how important this has been for thousands and thousands of years to Native Americans and especially Lakota Dakotas?
Yeah, there will be a lot of signage up explaining all of that. And we currently have some audio signs there that has a QR code that you can scan. And it's really awesome because you scan those codes and it tells the story of the area, both in Dakota and English. It's on the side of the falls where our site is at, but there's construction going on there right now. So we're looking to add more signs across the whole Stone Arch Bridge.
Yeah, and that's what I find too, is that people just don't know, and it's great to have that information and education to people that are visitors to your land, and they can get educated. And so, what is your role with the organization? What do you do specifically?
Yeah, education is key. That's how we really teach others of our importance of the area and why it's important to us. My role with Owámniyomni Okhódayapi, I'm the coordinator for the project department and also the programming. project is mainly working with our design team and kind of the behind the scenes and making everything roll to how it's supposed to and keeping up with our timeline. And then on our program side, that's really more like I work with Barry. And so that's more community engagement and getting our knowledge out there and engaging with the community.
Well, he'll bring that canoe that he just made and dug out, and
Yeah.
he'll be racing us ho chunks because we got a dugout canoe too. Ho,
Yeah, we'll go down the Mississippi.
exactly. So, can you talk about the design planning that's underway currently? What are you? How is this looking, and how can we recognize it?
Yeah, so if you go down there right now, at the Stone Arch Bridge, right there by the Mill Ruins Falls, Mill Ruins Park, it's kind of just a big empty concrete parking lot with the building there. It's not visually appealing. You know, you want to walk across the bridge and see the beautiful river and the land there, but that building in the parking lot's kind of in the way. So we wanted to give an area, restore it to as possible, close as possible to what it once was, because the spirit and the feelings are still there from what it used to be. So our design and engineering team is currently developing a plan to heal the land there, and they're working with Dakota knowledge keepers on how to keep the Dakota values and traditions going all throughout the process.
Yeah, and that's amazing because as we know, and our previous guests, I've found out so much about when it comes to water. That is where we have ceremony, and that where is spiritual for us. There's no doubt, and there's different touch points of that. But the water is, as we've
Mhm.
said over the years and years, water's life. Mini
Yeah, the water is so important because we come from water. Each and every one of us, we're in our mother's wombs and filled with water, and we're surrounded by it. It's our first medicine, and it's what takes care of not just us, but our plant relatives and our four-leggeds and everybody. Everybody needs water, so it's really important to um, do what we can now to help with the waters and the area.
Absolutely. Well, I have a ultra smart niece here, my Chujang Haley, and Haley, I'm wondering, this is so cool. Do you have any questions about this? This is just amazing work. This is really like land back.
Yeah, I know, just from having previous guests on, we've learned about like different, I think there's the island out there that people
Oh,
would
yeah.
go, Dakota women would like have childbirth out there and bring life to Earthside. And what do you know the name of that specific area that I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's the Owámniyomni, which is Spirit Island, and exactly what you said, our Dakota ancestors and relatives, women would go there to give birth and to have ceremony there because birth is a ceremony. So yeah, it's a very significant area that was undermined whenever they were developing the area with, the mills and the city. And um, I'm excited about it. It makes me excited because, I my background is in community behavioral health and mental health.
Mm.
So I did that for a really long time, and then kind of coming into this position, I can see how it's needed for everyone's mental health. Everyone works downtown, or especially our Dakota relatives in the cities, that if they wanted to get out to be with the water or to be with nature or anything, to see our medicines and our natural foods, they have to travel outside of the cities. And so we're hoping that we can give them a little bit of that right there, right in downtown.
Definitely. And I just know for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, the Army Corps of Engineers really changed the river. And it's so cool to hear what your work is involved in restoring it to the way it was in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it's really interesting work, working with the Army Corps of Engineers and partnering with them, the city, the Minneapolis Parks and Recs Board, and also our design team, and just hearing the conversation about how everyone collectively wants this to happen. They want us to be the stewards of this and return this land back to what it was for our relatives.
How difficult do you think that's going to be? Because I know a lot of times when we get land back, it sometimes is sick land, and we have to really recover the soil in different ways because of the chemicals that have been there. How difficult is this going to be for you guys?
I guess we'll find out. No, but well, a lot of the design process, we worked with the Mississippi Watershed organization, and they did water testing at the area, and we found a lot of findings that we're gonna try to figure out to clean up the area before people can even get into or not even get into the water, but before we can even have connection with that water. So that's just one aspect of it, and also taking off all the hard edges along the river right there with the building and the parking lot, and really letting Unjimaka heal herself in that area with a little assistance with us, like planting and giving her the ground and the earth back to her.
Wow, this is so cool and perfect. I just I know I'm 63, and I know there was no way that we'd ever swim in the river when I was young, but I know the river is a lot cleaner, at least all the way up to Badote, where the Minnesota merges, and I know it's really clean up there. And one of the things that was good that the Army Corps of Engineers did is they closed that what is it called? They closed the lock and dam.
Yeah. So that's really powerful in healing the water just by doing that, by closing it.
Mhm.
But what happened was once they closed it, there's a lot of sitting water that's been sitting for years. And so that's what we have to work on. And that's going to come in later phases of the project, and cleaning up the water and how to figure out how to make that water flow again.
Well, how can we're about to hit a break? How can our listeners out there keep updated? Is there a website, a Facebook, or how can we get more information as this project's going on, besides being on this great show?
Yeah, so we have our website, which is Owámniyomni.org, Facebook page, which is Owámniyomni Okhódayapi, as well as Instagram. And then there's also our YouTube channel that people can check out.
Absolutely. Well, let's do another quick segment. We are here with Kahomy Weston, and we are talking about this great project that she's working on in the Mississippi. And I have a few more questions, and this has been just an awesome show, Haley. All right. Hey, we'll be right back. This is Native Roots Radio.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Have you considered a career in the museum field? The Minnesota Historical Society is now accepting applications for its Native American Museum Fellowship. The 10-week summer program is a mix of workshops, seminars, and hands-on internships at the Minnesota Historical Society. It is open to undergraduate students, recent graduates, and community scholars with an interest in museums and heritage studies. Learn more and apply now at mnhs.org/NAI.
Some people won't give you the real talk on drugs, but it's time we know the facts. Fentanyl is killing people. It's a powerful opioid, often made illegally and commonly mixed with illicit drugs. It can even be pressed into counterfeit pills that resemble prescription medications. Just 2 milligrams, about the size of a few grains of sand, could potentially be lethal. This isn't an ad to scare you, but it is an ad to make you think twice. Get the facts. Go to realdealonfentanyl.com. This message is brought to you by the Ad Council.
J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on site from the best coffee growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Oh, this is Dallas Goldtooth, and you're listening to the Native Roots Radio. Hoka, hicha, wecha.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
In this portion of the show, we like to bring awareness to our Minnesota wolf population. Say no to the hunts.
Oh! Well, next time you're on Kahomy, you will howl with us in a way. Oh, wow.
That's so cute.
we have to keep it going, and Haley has a great tagline on that, and our lieutenant governor is from the Wolf Clan, so we recognize that too.
Oh, that's awesome.
Let's talk a little bit about what kind of restoration that's happening at the Oak, Savannah, and Limestone Bluff, and can you give us kind of a general and what kind of timeline too, I guess, is more what I was wondering.
Yeah, so the plan is to, by 2028, the Land in the Water will have, that the Land in the Water area will be restored for our plant and animal relatives and then permanently cared for by the Dakota, using Dakota practices. And a really big goal of Owámniyomni Okhódayapi is in the design is restoring the habitat of the site. And like I said, we want to give it back to Unjimaka to heal herself with a little help by creating that that prairie landscape and oak savanna, and then going down to like a lowland forest area. And in turn, that will revive the habitat for the migratory birds, the fish in that area, and also the animals that once lived there, like the sinkbe, the muskrat, which plays a huge role in the creation story for Dakota people and as other tribes also in this area. And there's a couple there that live there now, and they're so cute. We actually have a video on them if you guys want to check it out. It's on our YouTube page. But yeah.
So do you have names for these people?
Oh, I never asked, but we should name them.
I'm sure there'll be Lakota Dakota names, good ones. Oh, wow. Well, this is just awesome work. And again, before we let you go, I'd just love to have you give the name again and how people can find what you guys are doing, because this is exciting work. This is really, and I kind of touched on it just towards the end of the last segment, is that this is a real big form of land back. And land back is more than just giving us land, but it's the restoration that your organization's doing.
Yeah, so we're Owámniyomni Okhódayapi. You can find us on Facebook, on our website, YouTube pages. And, it's just a good blessing and a good opportunity to be working with awesome people doing this land. And it is land back, basically, especially right in the middle of Minneapolis, downtown Minneapolis. I'm so amazed by it because, I can't think of another, I'm sure there are, but I can't think of another place that has a Dakota presence that we're trying to restore right in the concrete jungle, and we're Dakota people are the only people in Minnesota that don't have a migration story coming to this area, especially at Owámniyomni. That's the ancestral lands for Dakota people. So it's really, really uplifting and awesome to do this work and to help in any way we can, especially with our relatives around. And yeah, we hope that in the future we can all come to a place and gather and pray and do our activities there. A lot of our project we wouldn't be able to do without the Outdoor Heritage Fund and the Minnesota Environment and Natural Resource Trust Fund and a lot of other donors and funding opportunities that is making this happen. So just wanted to
It's amazing what you guys are doing. It really, really is, and uh, I can't say enough, and I really liked what you had to say too about Lakota, Dakota. Sometimes I forget that because we're Ho-Chunk and we're all over the place, but this is the original land of the Dakotas, and you guys don't have a traveling story. This is where you were made.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and I'm so honored to work with them and bringing that back, bringing our presence back in our history, educating people of why it's so important.
Exactly. Well, before I let you go, do you have anything else that you would like to say and or give a shout out to anybody listening or
Um, just shout out to our team for making it happen, our design team, all of our funders, and everyone that's putting an effort into it. All of our partners around the city and with the state. It's really amazing and it's awesome to be a part of.
It is, and Haley, we gotta have you guys on again just for updates, and
Yeah.
uh, I'm just totally blown away, and I don't live that far away, so I'm gonna go down there and check it out. Maybe when the sun sets, I'll go down there and check it out.
Yeah, we're gonna start doing our monthly interpretive tours that Barry facilitates. But if anyone wants to schedule a tour, they can always reach out on our website or to any of us.
Wow, and that's Barry Hand, correct?
Yeah, Barry Hand. Yeah.
Right on. My old buddy from Harding. Yeah, well, thank you again so much for coming on, and have a great day, and I can't wait for more updates.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Have a great day.
You too, thanks. Wow, Haley, what a show, huh?
I
Jeez.
think so. Yeah, like Allison said here on Facebook, the guests today are really doing great things for the community.
Yeah, it is, and I can't wait to get more updates on this happening around the Mississippi there. Hey, I wanted to tell you that I went to that documentary last night.
And what was that?
The Leonard Peltier documentary, at the, what was it? The film festival, the Minneapolis St. Paul Film Festival.
Oh,
And
nice.
they had 3, theaters that were sold out,
Yeah.
and they staggered them. One started at 7, then one was 7:15, and one was 7:30, and,
Oh, good. I
at
got those times right yesterday.
yeah, you did, and I appreciate that. And 7:15 was interesting because we had a video from Leonard that I sent you that was very interesting. Maybe we'll play that tomorrow or something, or next week sometime. But people, I just gotta tell you to go out and see that documentary. I know it's only there for a few days, and, but I got, you know how I get FOMO, Haley, and the theater one, Leonard and one of the other, people that were, arrested for, uh, the murder of those 2 FBI agents were on live in the theater and doing questions and answers. So
Mm.
that sounded really amazing. But we had that really cool video, and I just wanted to say to people, go out there and check it out. Make sure you get tickets first because not only the story is needs to be told, and it's told in such a great way, and it's a beautiful way, and it's a narrative by Leonard himself, and also from past recordings, and gives the history of AIM. And it was great to see Madonna Thunderhawk on there too. We love her, and she's still kicking. And Indian Collective and how they really had helped the charge of getting Leonard out. And it was funny, the documentary ended where he did not get out, and then they revised it because on January 20th is when Biden gave them that commute, and so they had to add like a couple minutes to the documentary at the end with that they were all outside the prison, and he got the commute. And I don't know, it was amazing. So I wanted to tell everybody to go out there and see it. And again, I just want to give a shout out to people that I ran into that listened to the show. Big Gigi for listening to our show, and then I really appreciate when you come up and say hi. It's keeps us going here at Native Roots Radio.
Nice. Do you know how long that's playing there?
I
Or
think it's just a weekend because it's part of the film fest, and then
Oh, okay.
what they do is then they'll bring other films, other showings and other films at the same theater. So I think it's Saturday is probably the last day. I'll have to double check, but you can look it up on not you, but our listeners can look it up. I just want to say, if you can get out there and see it, I might go out and see it again.
Nice. I'll definitely be looking that one up for sure.
Right on. Haley, great show as always. The producer with the mostest, isn't that, or the hostess with the mostest, or yeah. Hey, if you're listening to the show, you're part of the resistance. We're still here. We are the 7th generation, and this has been Native Roots Radio. We'll see you tomorrow.
Did you know that from birth to age 3,